Hi there, welcome to Jimmy's Records and Tapes. I'm Jimmy Pardo. This week we're talking about 1985.
We've got it on vinyl, CD and cassette.
We've got pop, rock, heavy metal, punk, funk, rap, and new wave. All sales are vinyl, but you'll never regret all the music you get at Jimmy's Records and Tapes.
I'm loving music again. Hey everybody, welcome to Jimmy's Records and Tapes, 1985. What's going on, man? Well, We Are the World. It was released as a single, the far inferior collection of people sung for charity. That's a great sentence, huh? Anyway, We Are the World wasn't as good as Do They Know It's Christmas, is the point I'm trying to make. But it sold a bunch, and it raised awareness and hopefully some money. To that end, Live Aid happened, wearing the shirt. This is not from the time. I bought this on the internet afterwards. Fun fact, I was home with the chicken pox on the day of Live Aid. So I got to watch all of Live Aid in its entirety from the comfort of my own house while my mom and stepdad smoked. New Coke debuted. That debacle happened. Here comes New Coke. And then we all said, we were kind of enjoying old Coke. Let's go back to that. I think it was a marketing ploy all along, but I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, except when it comes to this. I really got to get to the bottom of Big Coke. Michael Jackson buys the Beatles catalog for $47 million. The rumor has it is that Paul McCartney and he were at dinner, and Paul said, where the real money is buying the rights, the publishing rights to songs. And Michael said, oh yeah, that sounds good. And then the next day went out and bought the Beatles catalog out from under Paul. So, and again, that is just one of those rumors on the internet. Could be 100% true. It could be a lie. I'm due to have lunch with Paul McCartney next week, and I'll ask him about it. What does your dollar get you in 1985? Well, I'll tell you something. It gets you some antibiotics for chicken pox and maybe a salve. $1.88 for gasoline. House, $89,300. And a concert ticket, get ready to get punched in the groin on this, $15. That's the average. Some were $12.50. Some may have been as crazily high as $20. Now you're lucky if you can get a concert ticket for less than $60, and you better be prepared to not see, maybe not even hear anything from the seats at that price. Musically, the top-selling song was "Careless Whisper" by Wham featuring George Michael. The best-selling long play was Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA, which surprises me for this reason. The Miami Vice soundtrack was number one for 7 weeks, and Dire Straits' Brothers in Arms was number one for 9 weeks. Bruce was not there as long, yet was considered the best-selling album of the year. The Grammy Awards that were given out in '86 for the '85 accomplishments. Best New Artist was Sade. And then the album of the year from the Grammys was Phil Collins' No Jacket Required. But we are going to talk about a band that's already come up. Today we're going to talk about Wham's Make It Big. I was working at JR's music shop at the time, and Elisa, which is a young lady that worked there as well, she and I became obsessed with this album. I thought the song Wake Me Up Before You Go Go was great. I thought Freedom was great. I thought Everything She Wants was great. I like the song Careless. I like the whole album. There, I've said it. Do I think the artwork on the cover is lacking? Yes, I do. Do I like the fact that the back cover is basically the front cover shrunken down? No, I don't like that. I think it's horrible. With all the photographs they've taken of George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley over the years, you'd think they could have found one photo to put on the back, but instead they just shrunk it down. Why? It was rushed. It was rushed to production. I think there's only 8 songs on this album, which, if I'm not, I just read Andrew Ridgeley's book, and I retain zero information, but I think that they had a couple of songs, and then Wake Me Up Before You Go Go went so, it broke out so big that they had to rush the album. Again, I could be making that up. There has to be an explanation behind this horrible, horrible cover art. It's just atrocious. It's just awful. It is Wham's second album. Their first album is Fantastic is the name of it, and it's also fantastic. It's also a cleaning product that you keep underneath your sink that can be used on household items in the kitchen and the bath. They were known as Wham UK back then. I guess maybe there was another Wham. I just read this book. You'd think I would have some of this information. And we would do this at the record store. In fact, my cousin Dan, who worked at the record store for a short period of time, was the first one to do this, and I thought it was hysterical because Wham had an exclamation point when somebody would come up and say, "Hey, do you have the new song by Wham?" He would go, "Do you mean Wham?" And we would laugh like idiots. Well, of course, Chicago is my favorite band of all time, but Wham is in the top 5. That's the truth. And growing up on the south side of Chicago, that was not an easy band to have as your favorite band. I mean, it's especially south suburbs where I was, kind of closed-minded, a little bigoted in some areas. Not everybody. I'm not going to paint it with that wide of a brush. But it was a bunch of guys on a daily basis. They would say, hey, Jim, who you into? I'd say, I like Wham. And there was a bunch of guys in Ditka mustaches going, think those guys might be queer, Jim. I was like, yeah, who cares? Yeah, there's a chance those guys might be a little light in the loafers, Jim. And I don't know, true or false, it doesn't matter to me. To me, they're just a couple of guys that want me to wake them up before I go. That's all I wanted to do there. I went to see Wham. They did a very limited amount of shows on the Wham America tour, and I brought my girlfriend Dawn, and we had front row seats. At one point, we were standing at the edge of the stage, and George Michael came over and looked at Dawn in a way that then ruined the rest of the show for me because I thought he was flirting with her. History would prove he was not. Hey, it's time for this week's quick hit. Going to talk about Wire Train. They had a song, this is an album track again, a song off their Between Two Words album called The Skills of Summer, which a lot of people was getting radio play on the collegiate level. Is that how you say that? Maybe. Let's say it that way. And people thought that people would request it as Tequila Summer. And it's not that. It's Skills of Summer. Wire Train is one of my favorite bands. This is their second album. The first album I discovered, not like I said about something an episode or two ago, about promos coming into the record store. Their first album, In a Chamber, was a promo that came into the record store. I put it on. I fell in love with it. So when their second album came out, I was actually very excited about the release date for it. It's got a couple of great songs, Last Perfect Thing and God on Our Side, which is a Bob Dylan cover. But that Skills of Summer may be their peak for Jimmy Pardo. Jeffrey Trott, who is a member of Wire Train, oddly enough, not on this album, so I don't even know why I'm bringing him up. He joined after this record. He went on to produce Cheryl Crow and also the most recent Hootie and the Blowfish album. So if that's in your bag, maybe you want to investigate Wire Train. It was a neat record to listen to as I would be at the record store and I would be waiting to open up the store each day so that people could see me in my Miami Vice jacket. And I would play it at a volume that then would get me in trouble with mall security, tell me to turn it down by the time I opened up the store. And I bring that up because if I played it too loudly, other stores would complain. Case in point, my girlfriend Dawn worked at a place called, I think it was called Modern Man, which was a men's clothing goods store, down the mall and to the left, down in the let's call it the east wing of the mall, which was a distance away. One time, I blew my nose. And I got seconds later, the phone rang, and it was Dawn at her store going, "Did you just blow your nose?" That is this week's Jimmy's Records and Tapes. If you liked it, click like, subscribe, share it with your music and vinyl loving buddies. I'm on Twitter at Jimmy Pardo, and of course I host the award-winning podcast Never Not Funny. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Until then, records back in the sleeve.